Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Let's Talk Sarcoidosis. I'm your host, Dorothea Howard, and in the studio today is my good friend, colleague, and health partner, is Nicole Ruffin. She's founder of Care Essence Therapeutic Massage, and she's also a licensed massage therapist. So welcome back, because everybody wanted you back on the show.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure. I love working with you, and I love helping you out. So thank you so much for having me.
And likewise, because it's really a good match, and just because of people suffering today, there's a lot of choices that we can help the viewers with, that some they may know and some they may not know. So this is why we have expertise on the show, like yourself.
Thank you.
And so I know you have a lot of techniques. You want to talk about different techniques today, also about the essential oils, aromatherapy benefits. So let's talk about some of the techniques. For example, the raindrop, you call it, technique.
Sure. You know, the last time I was here, we talked about was massage therapy a benefit for people who suffer from sarcoidosis? Mm-hmm. And I really believe that no two people who are suffering with sarcoidosis experience the same issues, that they have the same treatment plan that will work for them. So you sort of have to start with trying to find out what's going to work for you. So I have 3 modalities that I recommend outside of massage therapy.
Okay.
Massage therapy can be a great resource, but because people with sarcoidosis experience a lot of pain to the touch, I don't recommend massage therapy. We can try it, but if that's not a good fit for them, we have 3 techniques, one called Raindrop technique, Reiki, and Cranial sacral.
Okay.
The Raindrop technique uses the essential oils, and the oils come directly from the plant source, so you're not getting a dilution, you're getting the oils. Like, the oil is equivalent to plants, like blood is equivalent to us and our bodies.
Wow. Okay.
Right, and so they're pure grade oil, therapeutic grade oil, and they are antioxidant in nature. So when you have like free radicals in your body, when they combine to pollution and chemicals and things like that, that's where illness sets in.
Okay.
But with the antioxidants, they bind to the free radicals, and then it doesn't make your body available to bind to these chemicals and all of this junk that's in our world. So the Raindrop technique was specifically designed for people who have back pain, but because of the way that the oils are applied, they're like nice feathering, slow strokes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You apply the oils along the spinal column of the body, or the back,
right down the middle.
Right down the middle
of the back.
So the benefit is, as the oils penetrate into the body, all of the organs that are underneath the skin and below the spine. So like if you're laying down on your stomach, your spine would be what's first, and then all of your organs would be underneath that.
Right.
Visually, if you take a look at it that way. So all of the oils, all of the organs, such as your lungs, your heart, your spleen, your stomach, your liver, pancreas, and all of those things, they get the benefits of the oils.
That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and so it can be very calming. It can be very relaxing. Some of the oils that are used are antibacterial, antimicrobial, and antiparasitic in nature. They are basil, thyme, oregano.
Really?
Yes. Marjoram.
Wow.
Wintergreen.
I've heard of those.
But you've heard of them in the kitchen, right? Yes. You've heard of them in the kitchen. But these are some of the oils that you'll use. Cypress, and I was also thinking, we have some blends. So there's one called Deep Relief. And so, people who suffer from sarcoidosis have problems with their lungs and their breathing and things like that. And you can use some of the eucalyptus type of oils, the wintergreen and the peppermint. But what I would suggest first is that you experiment with the oils off the body, meaning like put them in a diffuser, or putting them as aromatherapy to see if your reaction is pleasant to it. Because if it's pleasant to it, or if your body responds favorably to it, then you know that it'll work when you apply the oils on the body, and so you won't have any negative reactions and things like that. And then you do, after you apply the oils, then there's a warm compress that's applied afterwards, and it's so yummy. It is so yummy. Yes.
And that's after the oils?
After the application of the oils, that process takes about 30 minutes. Then you put the warm compress on and let that sit and allow the oils to penetrate.
So it takes 30 minutes to apply the oils. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All righty.
Yeah.
And then you put the hot
Then you put the hot compress on. Yes.
Wow. That sounds really relaxing.
Yeah. It's yummy.
So it's all about the technique, like you said.
It's all about the technique, right? And all of the oils are applied onto the back, so you do need a practitioner to apply those oils for you. Yes.
Yeah, because you can't possibly reach all of the locations, the areas on your back you can't do the self-massage like that on your back.
Now, the good thing is the benefits of a raindrop technique last for 7 days, and so you can get them once a week. You get a raindrop technique about once a week. Yeah.
Wow. That's not, for something that's an investment in your health, I don't think that people should worry about how many times you may have to get it. Now I don't know as far as cost range or something like that. I'm sure if they want to find something, that information out, they can definitely contact you after the show to figure out, what's the best treatment. But I think, and I don't know how you feel about that, but I think sometimes we as people, especially women, sometimes why do we feel like we don't deserve these different types of, therapeutic massages and all types of things that you can do?
We have to change the conversation, because I think growing up, we always hear things like, I can't afford it, or I need to do something more responsible, whatever. But what's more responsible than taking care of your health and taking care of yourself? You know what I mean? So you may have to, I always joke, people will they won't cut out getting their hair done or getting their nails done.
Oh, definitely not.
They may not cut out their cigarettes or whatever, but they'll cut out something that's good for them. They might even cut off their health care, but they're going to keep some of these other things, or going shopping and things like that. So you just have to learn how to prioritize what's important. And if you take care of your health, you'll be around long enough to be able to afford all of the other things.
That's what I'm talking about. That's the truth.
Yes.
You have the fancy things, and that's fine, but think of your health as a number one priority, like we think of, Gucci and Coach.
Exactly.
So, I know you also mentioned Cranial.
Yes.
And, that's another thing that I wanted to talk about, the technique. So what type of techniques do you use for the cranial massage?
So it's called cranial sacral technique, and it's not a massage.
It's not?
No, it can be a hands-on or hands-off, meaning that you can either touch the client or you can do it with hands-off.
Oh.
And so typically, this one is a little bit more fun because it's intuitive work. And it's created for people who have been exposed to trauma. And trauma can be defined in all sorts of ways. It can be post-traumatic stress, it can be crisis, it can be, rape, car accidents and things like that, illness, the depression that we carry in our body. And so craniosacral, it sounds very invasive.
It does.
But it is designed to work with the cerebral spinal fluid. So when you think about our circulatory system, you think about our heartbeat, our pulse rate. Our pulse rate is 80 beats per minute. Well, the craniosacral or the cerebral spinal fluid has a rhythm as well. And when you think about that rhythm, think about an ocean tide, and how the water comes in and it flows back out. It doesn't even move that fast. It's much slower. So you think about an ocean tide and just slow it down, and it goes back and forth.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and so what happens is we do different holds along the body. It's done typically in silence, maybe a little bit of music, but not too loud, not too stimulating.
It's pretty quiet.
Pretty quiet setting. And what happens is you are stimulating that movement. So just imagine if the ocean didn't have a tide coming in and out, and it was just completely still. There are certain holds that you have on the body, intuitively speaking, that stimulate that wave. It returns the body back to the wave. Now, a lot of people are thinking, no, I want to be touched, I want to be manipulated or whatever. but our bodies need different things at different times. Think about when a baby cries. Sometimes a baby is sleeping very peacefully. You don't want to disturb her and wake her or him or her. But then at some point when they cry, they want to be picked up, held, fed, or they need to go to the bathroom or whatever. And so what we're doing with the cranial sacral is kind of understanding what it is that the body needs at that moment in time. So the experience that I had most recently with a client who didn't have sarcoidosis, but he was in a very bad car accident, had maybe about 3 or 4 back and neck surgeries.
Oh my.
So when he came into the office,
he's a blessing to be alive.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
It's
a blessing for him.
He was in need of a deep tissue massage. He really wanted to be grinded and manipulated and things like that. But he saw the description of cranial sacral, and he's like, I need that.
He said, look no further, this is it right here.
And I was like, well, what you say you need and what cranial sacral is 2 different things.
Right.
So what I decided to do was a combination of the 2. I didn't give him a deep tissue massage, but I massaged him. And then what I chose to do is towards the end of the session, I gave him about 5 or 6 minutes of the cranial sacral. And that was probably the most relaxed he was. And when I just kind of went to his neck and I just softly touched different points along his neck. After the session, he was like, what was that you did at the end? It's like,
see, he remembered, right?
He remembered, yeah. He said, I said, that's cranial sacral. And he's like, wow. So he really thought that it was some sort of energetic, spiritual, voodoo type of work.
Right.
And that was the work that he responded to the most.
Wow.
It was amazing.
So that's what he really needed then.
That's what I knew.
At that moment.
That's what I knew that he needed. But what happens with massage therapy, it's a conversation that can be spoken or unspoken. You read the client. I knew what he thought he wanted. And so what I did was I gave him what he wanted, but then I introduced him to a new concept.
And that was the first time.
That was the first time. So when he returns, he's going to identify with the cranial sacral, and he'll probably want a little bit more of that. That's the beauty of therapeutic massage, is that it's not what I say you need. You really have to listen to the client. And then, you get to have a conversation or education about, okay, in my experience, this is what works. But I'm listening to you.
Right.
And so then we can have a median, if you will, or a conversation or a blending of a treatment plan that's designed specifically for you.
So the experience can be great.
Exactly.
And they want to come back and, keep feeling that feeling that they're getting.
Yeah.
So how long is that technique?
The cranial sacral technique can be done in 30 minutes, 60 minutes, or I think 60 minutes is about the most. You can design it up to 90 minutes, but 90 minutes may be too long.
Okay.
Yeah.
So before I ask the next question, that's kind of something that would be interesting, is how long is too long for any type of technique?
Right.
Is there a cutoff that, you just don't have this technique done over an hour? It's just like, is that too long?
It seems like 60 minutes is typically what people go for, because you have to think about the therapist and the person that's on the table. So if you find that your client is getting too fidgety, then that's when you want to start approaching the stopping point or whatever. But you also want to make sure that your therapist doesn't get too relaxed, Right,
because that's why I said, how long is too long?
Yeah, so 90 minutes is just typically the length of time for a treatment plan.
Okay.
It can go longer, but, so that the therapist can stay engaged as well,
But not recommended.
Exactly. We may say, Dorothea, move over. It's time for me to lay down.
Time for me to lay down. Now you try this on me.
Exactly.
So let's talk a little bit about Reiki.
Okay.
The techniques for
Sure. Now, Reiki is a Japanese healing art, and that one is probably, out of the 3 that we're talking about today, more spiritual in nature. It's meditative, and it's facilitated by massage therapists, but all the work and all of the energy is implemented through the client. So really, I'm just holding a safe space for you to get whatever messages that you're supposed to get. So it's not religious, it's not super spiritual. It's more, the best way to describe it visually is, it's a guided meditation where I'm literally just holding the space, and just for your comfort level, I can either put my hands on you or take my hands off of you.
Okay.
You are resting, and it's giving you an opportunity to listen. Because what happens in our society or in our world, things get crazy, they get out of hand, we get overwhelmed.
Oh, absolutely.
And we stop listening. A lot of times our diagnosis for our illness, any illness really, we've gotten signals a long time ago.
That is true.
But by the time it manifests into something magnificent, we have to go to a doctor, and we're describing all these aches, pains, injuries, all of these visuals and things. But our body tried to get our attention
a long time ago.
Years ago, exactly.
And we just don't listen to and don't, look at the signs.
We don't. We
do
ignore them.
get signs, You
get plenty of signs.
Ignore them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so Reiki is probably one of the better ways to get yourself to listen to your body. And it's done in silence. It can be done 30, 60 minutes. And typically nothing is happening from my end, but some of the results can be cold, chill, crying, emotional releases,
That's
laughter.
deep.
Yeah.
That's deep.
And every experience is different. You can get a Reiki session daily, monthly, weekly, or whatever.
Daily?
Every experience you have will not be the same. So if you cried the first time, you may laugh another time. It's not like this is a one-time thing and then I'm done.
Okay.
It's amazing. But the reason why I say you can do it daily is because it's more of a meditation. You can meditate daily, so.
Right.
Yeah.
And speaking of meditation, let's talk about depression.
Okay.
And I'm sure you get clients that's like that, but for any illness, and particularly sarcoidosis, depression is a #1 issue.
Exactly.
And whether it's depressed because of being diagnosed with sarcoidosis or the depression from the medications. So how does someone, that's depressed deal with meditation and, all that good stuff?
Okay, so what happens is once you are diagnosed with an illness, there's this sense of overwhelmness. Like you feel like your body has disappointed you or has let you down, or you've let yourself down. And so therefore, you have a decision to make. You can either decide that I'm going to become this disease. I think you quote, I have sarcoidosis, but sarcoidosis doesn't have me. And so one of the things that you've decided to do is create a platform where you're helping other people learn more about the illness. But sometimes you can decide that I'm going to take ownership of all this pain, this agony, this bitterness, this stress, and it holds you down. You get stuck, if you will. You stop living.
You can.
You know what I mean?
You can.
And so people have to decide for themselves how they are going to live with this disease, because you can live. I think you mentioned to me before that you've been dealing with this for 31 years.
Yes. February will be 31 years
Absolutely.
of living with sarcoidosis.
Absolutely. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Praise God.
And that's why people need to know that they definitely have hope and they have choices.
But now you do understand that there have been times when people have been diagnosed with an illness, and that's the day they stop living.
Absolutely.
And so what you have to do is, with meditation or journaling or anything like that or whatever, is you have to take responsibility of what am I going to do to live. So you have options. A doctor can say you need surgery. Another doctor can say we have all these experimental drugs.
Right.
You can declare I'm not doing any of the traditional medicine and I just want to do holistic things. And so what you're going to have to do, with the help of the Lord, I'm a Christian, so
absolutely.
So with the help of the Lord is plan out what responsibilities that you're going to take. I think meditation is a great beginning place because that's where the listening begins.
Right.
And so the 3 modalities that I mentioned earlier, whatever, they may or may not work for you. You know what I mean? You could decide that I want to try it or I want to try something else. But before you just get gung-ho with, oh, my friend has sarcoidosis and this is what she did, or my buddy has this, this is what you have to do, or whatever. You have to pay attention to what your body is asking for.
Yes.
And it will help you move out of that depression stage. Once you start taking a proactive, responsible role for what you need to do for yourself, and it's not going to be the same path for everyone.
It won't. And we talked about this a little bit. Maybe you can elaborate on this, the importance of journaling. So, let's talk about that briefly.
So I have I'm having problems with my weight, and I've tried a lot of different things to help me with my weight over the years or whatever. But the moment I started journaling, I started identifying things that helped me not repeat the same mistakes, and the things that I was doing that made it a good day for me, I would repeat some of those things. So, for example, if in the last 30 days you've had 15 good days with sarcoidosis and 15 bad days of sarcoidosis, if you write down those things, the things that you did that made it a good day, every day. So the things that you wrote down that made it a good day, you'll have a list of what worked, and you can repeat that. If on those days that it wasn't a good day, if you have something to chart what made it a bad day, you won't repeat those things.
Right.
And so you'll be able to create for Dorothea what makes it a good day for me while I'm living with this disease. And you can apply it to anything.
You surely can, because, I mean, if you're writing things down, sometimes you want just reference. You can go back and say, hey, this happened. I don't want to feel like that again. So let me look back at my journal to see what made me have this happy place, and then what brought me to this depression state. And so that's a great idea for people. And, the time is just kind of running with us. So real quickly, because believe it or not, we're getting close to the end of the show. So just touch base real quickly about exercise. I know people don't want to hear this, but it's really important.
Exactly.
Got my Fitbit on, so you know.
I have
and you had one too. So real quick, how can we, incorporate more exercise in our life? And some people, they're unable to do certain things because of their illness and sarcoidosis. Some people, they have, they're in a wheelchair, they have oxygen, but just little things. And we're not doctors. We're not telling everybody they need to do this. They definitely need to check with their physician first, but just from your experience.
So I have a friend who has sarcoidosis, and so when I first started reading about sarcoidosis, I just assumed that, you were just kind of confined and there was nothing that you can do, and there's no, not a lot of movement because there's difficulty with breathing. But with this particular friend of mine, exercising gave her life. It gave her energy. It gave her breath. It gave her oxygen. And so and then the same thing that happened with me with my exercise and weight loss and things like that. I just started walking. So I started doing simple things. It's the same thing with weight loss or whatever. You don't want to just climb the mountain on the first day or whatever. You have to take baby steps and find out what exercises work well for you. The weather is terrible outside, so I'm not walking outside. I'm walking out, marching in place, watching videos, marching to, while I'm watching TV, marching in place and things like that or whatever. So discovering what brings you joy, even in your exercise or whatever. Not really interested in weights myself, but I don't mind the walking, and I have some fun workout videos and things like that. My husband likes to lift weights. That's his thing or whatever. So you have to find what speaks to you so that you can continue to do those things. Support,
the passion.
Exactly. And the support group. So, you and I are friends on Fitbit. And so there's like this, all of a sudden there's this support group where people are doing, people who have something in common are doing the same thing.
And I'm slow when I look at them. Let me just put it out there. It's like, whoa, okay.
But it's motivating and inspiring.
It is.
You know
it
what
is.
I mean?
Yeah, because then the competitive things start kicking in.
Exactly.
Yes.
So the thing that I do encourage people with illnesses or any problematic situation, because I hate to think that my obesity is an illness, but it is. But I have been in fellowship with groups of people who are exercising, and then all of a sudden I get excited about it. You know what I mean? This time last year I wasn't moving. You know what I mean? And then
it doesn't matter when you start, right?
It doesn't matter
as long as you start.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I think when people realize that, and I've been knowing you for years, and you look fabulous.
Thank you.
You look fabulous, and I can see your hard work. So people can't say that it can't be done.
Exactly.
The mindset, it can be done. And like I said before, me living with the illness, I never let it get to me, because if I let it get to me, then I'm going to get stuck.
Exactly.
And I have too much to live for to get stuck. So I won't allow myself to do that.
Absolutely.
You know, and once I continue to do the right things, pray, thank God for blessings, whoever you praise to your highest power to. Always be blessed, stop. I don't want to complain about the little things. And I'm not the kind of person that I could be in pain, but I'm not that kind of person that will go around, oh, this hurts, that hurts, because I don't want to keep claiming it.
Exactly.
So I just continue to do what I'm doing and just say, oh, please just get me through this. But I just continue to live.
Exactly.
So I will not let any illness or whatever it is, stop me from living.
Exactly.
I'm here on this earth, as we all are, for a purpose, and it's definitely to keep living and inspiring others. So on that note, I want to thank you again. You can come back anytime, because we want to continue to hear about all the new techniques and things of that can help viewers. It's always a pleasure. And, people watching the show, please look at the credits and contact Nicole Ruffin and, talk to her about it. And if you're in the area, certainly, call her to make an appointment, or she's fancy, you can go online and set up the appointment. But anyway, to all my fellow Sarcoidonians out there, just want to let you know that, it's a bad disease, but we can beat it. And on that note, like I always say, all the fellow Sarcoidonians, we all have sarcoidosis, but sarcoidosis doesn't have us. Live your life, stay positive, and be blessed. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.